you're in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. Why you shaking? We're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights for the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory. Yeah, we've waited for our time to come. Calculated everything we've done, we've upgraded. Now you can't outrun a champion. Now you're facing one. Can you hear them? Yeah, it's all for us. You believe them? Yeah, it's serious. Hear the siren. We're victorious. I'm telling you. Can I get a hell yeah? Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this.
you for allowing us to be part of your family. This is Joe Bloomstrom and Lori Bloomstrom, and behind us here is a picture of our son Paul, who is part of the sim racing family, and it's just so cool that you're allowing us to be a part of this, and we really appreciate you thinking of Paul the way you do.
We just wanted to thank you guys. We are so grateful you're doing this in Paul's honor. He really loves this community, and we are hoping that we can raise some funds for St. Jude's charity. We have a special place in our hearts for St. Jude's. They help kids, and we are really grateful.
Paul loved you guys. We miss him terribly. He was a great son, great guy, and made friends all over the world, including all of you. Thank you so much.
Paul loved to go fast, and I hope you guys do too. Thank you.
Hello, welcome, and good evening. Hope we're all doing fantastic here today. Hope we're all ready for another great race here from the Vegas Cup Series. So, on behalf of St. Jude's Children's Research Foundation and the Bloomstrom family, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in here again for us here in week number 8. I'm your host for today for our Pro Split 1 GT45 Gaming, and live for Split 2 and Split 3 this weekend is Nolander Gaming over on his channel on YouTube as well. So, what do we have in store for everybody today? Well, we did tease at the end of last week's Dragon Trail Gardens race that we would have a racer favorite racetrack come up this weekend, and it is Road Atlanta. So, for those racers that don't make it here this weekend, are going to be kicking themselves a little bit because they got to miss one of the great tracks here within the community that we love to race. But it is also Thanksgiving weekend here in the United States of America as well. So a happy Thanksgiving to all of our U.S. friends and racers and viewers alike. Hope everybody's had a great holiday weekend. And hopefully we've had some great memories to cherish with family and friends. So, let's keep ripping through what we got going on here today. As we touched on there, it is round 8 here from the Vegas Cup Series, and this is our Pro Division, and it is round 8. We are at Road Atlanta, and Road Atlanta is much like what we saw last week. It's a much shorter style racetrack. It's a more technical style racetrack. It doesn't have a lot of big straight line speed sections in it. It only has really essentially one around this particular racetrack, and it's not going to come down to which car has the best straight line speed. It's going to come down to which driver has the best rhythm around the racetrack here after an hour of racing today, without a question of a doubt. Fuel is going to be a concern on the drivers' minds here today, and so are tires, depending on the strategy that our drivers opt to use. And you can see here on the schedule, we are nearing the end of our championship, which means we are going to be crowning some champions here in just a couple of weeks' time. Crazy to think that we've already gotten through 8 weeks of championship racing. Man, the time flies when we're having fun. And it is round 8 at Road Atlanta. We are late morning conditions with random weather. So things are getting interesting as you take a look on that schedule, and we see a couple of bigger tracks coming up near the end of the season here. And of course, the biggest racetrack of them all to finish off the Vegas Cup Series this season, and we thought that would just be fitting. All right, a little bit of fun facts about Road Atlanta. Track map does come courteous of 1010's Miss Devious here. We always appreciate the amazing hard work she puts into all these maps for us to take a look at, and the amount of research that goes in for the information put on them as well. Take it for face value, because it is worth a ton of gold if you understand the information on the sheets. Alright, so it is a 2.52 mile racetrack, 4.08 kilometers. It has 12 left and right hand corners. It is a tarmac surface. It is a real world circuit, and a fine one at that, and has an elevation change of 125 feet. So just a little bit about what we got going down here at the Vegas Cup Series in round number 8 for all of our fans and viewers alike. So let's head over to trackside here now.
400,000 children like Justin develop cancer. If he had been born in the United States, his chances of survival would have been more than 80%. But in his native Ecuador, those chances are much lower. In resource-limited countries, survival rates are below 30%. Where a child lives is the most powerful predictor of whether they will survive cancer. There are many contributing factors to the disparity in pediatric cancer survival rates, including access to life-saving medicines.
So access to quality medications is critical for the success of any programs at the country level or global. Children cannot survive, cannot have hope without proper access to essential medicines. This has been something that we have identified as a priority.
St. Jude has long been dedicated to improving pediatric health worldwide. Building on our established global ecosystem of collaboration, we are launching a transformative initiative, the Global Platform for Access to Childhood Cancer Medicines.
We are now able to tackle the rare pediatric cancers and make progress against those because we're working as a global community that will allow us to purchase generic drugs and distribute those to low and middle income countries at no cost.
The global platform works by creating a central procurement entity within the World Health Organization, the UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization. Then the governments engage to develop the production and the supply of these medications. And these are the medications that are considered to be critical and required for all children with cancer, wherever they are.
Today, essential cancer medicines are starting to arrive in 6 countries: Ecuador, Zambia, Jordan, Uzbekistan, Nepal, and Mongolia. These medicines, provided at no cost to local institutions, represent the first step in a long-term effort to reach 50 countries and treat more than 120,000 children in 5 to 7 years.
Danny's dream was that no child die in the dawn of life, and he was thinking perhaps about the United States, but I think in the back of his mind he was always thinking of a global landscape. And I see this as the logical direction for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital to go and for the entire field of pediatric oncology.
The Global Platform is more than a lifeline for children like Justin facing cancer. It's a foundation for a future where all children have access to life-saving care. By working together, we are building toward our founder's dream that no child should die in the dawn of life, no matter where they're born.
And just a little bit from St. Jude's there as well as we get over to trackside here and start to break down the information. Go check in on our racers here. So the room settings are as follows here this weekend. It is a practice endurance race. It is obviously a private lobby. It is race for real conditions, and it is obviously registered drivers only. And today it was going to be upwards of 12 drivers, but it looks like we're sitting at about 7 or 8 racers here today due to the Thanksgiving weekend. The track is Road Atlanta and is a 60-minute endurance race. It is random weather. It is late morning conditions with a 2 times weather variable speed. It is a grid start with false start check. The grid is determined from the previous round of racing. Balance of performance is on with brake bias allowed. It is 3 times tire and fuel. It's a 9 liter per second refill speed in pit lane, and the drivers start with a full tank of fuel. Shortcut penalties are on weak. Off-track conditions are set to real. Slip is set to real, and damage is set to light this championship season. And it is Group 3 MR cars only, with a couple of banned cars in the class here, and all tires are open. No mandatory tire this season. It is open pit strategy here this season. Alright, so as we go trackside here, we're just coming to take a quick look at our list here and see who we're still missing. It's going to be a really small grid here today. Alright, so let's get the game audio kicking here. There we go. Alright. Again, it is Thanksgiving weekend here in the United States of America. I am from Canada. We did our Thanksgiving a few weeks ago here already, but now it's the U.S.'s turn to do their Thanksgiving weekend. It's a pretty big holiday in the United States. Obviously, Black Friday follows up with Thanksgiving, which is an event all in itself in North America and starting to become a thing across the world, I suppose. But of course, that does mean that family is away from home, they're traveling, or they're traveling back from to wherever it was where they just spent the weekend for Thanksgiving. So some of our racers just might not make the grid here today, and I mean that's happens. So it's tough when you set up championship schedules because sometimes holidays interfere with what you got going on. We're missing Roses, so Roses is a potential. So it might be a 6-car grid here today, which is highly unfortunate. If we had the full grid here today, it would be JSAT in pole position with Misdevious in second. It would be ATB in third with Supra in fourth. ATB and Misdevious both will be missing here today. Misdevious just last minute let me know she was unable to make it in time for the race today. Dylan as well just let me know that he was unable to make the race here today, as well as Doug. So that leaves us with JSAT, Sheriff, Jake, Streeter Tom, and JP on track currently. So I mean, points are points, and missed races are missed races, and it could ultimately, I guess, affect how the championship does sort out at the end of the season. But there are 2 drop rounds at the end of the championship season, so we'll take the drivers' 2 worst rounds, and whether that be no-shows or just worst points scored races, and we'll eliminate those from the championship standings. Though any bonus points, however, though collected, if that turns out to be a dropped round for the racers, do stay on the points board for the racers. Bonus points are exempt from drop rounds. Bonus points are an extra point earned for an extra performance, essentially like fastest lap on traffic, etc., etc. So we do allow the drivers to keep their bonus points acquired even if that race does get dropped and they earn, say, fastest lap point. Those 2 points will carry over into their overall point standing still. However, the lap count points will then be dropped, and it turns into an 8-race championship season, or the 10 weeks essentially. So it does allow a little bit of flexibility for the racers to miss a couple of weeks and still have a shot at winning a championship. But like I said, when you are scheduling championships, it gets really difficult when holidays interfere, and this one was extra difficult because we also have Christmas time near the end of the championship. We didn't want to run into that holiday season, so we had to bite the bullet and schedule over 2 Thanksgiving holiday weekends this season, and it is what it is. So we race anyways. So what I need to do is get a grid. Is that right? Hold on, I need to go check. Alright, we got J, Supra, Sheriff Jake, Tom and JP. That is a small grid today, ladies and gentlemen. What can I say? It happens sometimes. It's probably one of the smallest grids I think we've ever had in the history of championship racing here at GT45 Gaming, if I'm going to be quite frank with you. Minus with the exception of our AM lobby this season. They've been a 6-car grid all season, but they've also been racing with our Pro-Am division as well most of the season, so it's been a full lobby over there almost every week. So our Pro lobby has maintained really great numbers this season. We had a early season complication. A couple of drivers have since left the championship since then, and we'll leave it at that. and then it's just you know, a hit and miss with each driver each week. So we usually miss one or two drivers every week. That's pretty par for the course with championship racing. But when you run into a holiday weekend, sometimes you end up with a large missing number of drivers, and that's exactly the case we have here today. So bear with us. It's going to be a small race, but hopefully our small group of racers can make it a mighty one here today. And we'll give them a 4-minute warning. I think that's fair at this point. Should learn how to spell it first, right? Get a sneeze, pardon me. All right, there we go. We got that out of the way. All right, so we are still tweaking our audio, so let us know if it's better this week. What we did notice from last week's race that the game audio was significantly louder than my audio was, so we've made some adjustments from last week. But of course, we only stream the Vegas Cup Series once a week, so essentially, kind of every week we go live. We just keep fine tuning it till we finally get it perfect. So by the end of the season, we should have it about perfect. Don't forget, we do have an all-star race coming up as well. We're going to make an official announcement at that near the end of the season here. How the details and all that stuff is kind of just being finalized in behind the scenes and talked over here. Much as a couple of other important matters at hand as far as our points goes on the back end as well. So we have a couple of pretty big things we got to do as a development team and admin team here in the off week here in between racing rounds, and it's going to shake up how the points look here on SLP, but moving into round 9 as well. So we'll explain all that next week to everybody, just so the viewers are all caught up to speed as well. But we have an extensive rule book here at GT45 Gaming when it comes to the championships and our racing, and it covers as much as it possibly could that we could think of. And yet seems like every season we find a new thing that we need to adjust or add into the rule book. But it keeps things right and tight. It keeps us on our toes and on a straight line as a development team and an admin staff, but it also keeps the racers in a straight line and on their toes as a racing group as well. So we got a great racing community here at GT45 Gaming. They don't really make us go too deep into the rule book too often, but you know, sometimes things happen, and that's why we have such an extensive rule book in place. So however, though, sometimes it does complicate a championship season with that being said as well. But we are about ready to go here, so we are 1 minute away from a green flag here, essentially. So we are going to basically send it. Good afternoon. Not what I wanted to do. Small grid today. I do apologize to our viewers. We usually don't live broadcast anything usually smaller than 9 or 10 racers, but this is for charity, so I could care less if we had 3 cars on the racetrack. We're still going to run this race live on the broadcast here today. It is for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and it's because it's Thanksgiving weekend in the United States that we do have low numbers here this weekend. So things happen, holidays happen, and sometimes we end up with small numbers. That's what I'm looking for. All right, let's get to it. So with that being said, this weekend with the small grid, we're probably going to bypass the podium interviews this weekend. Just because this is more of a race for show here this weekend. However, though, if you head over to Nolander Gaming's YouTube at Nolander Gaming here on YouTube, kick them tires, light them fires, let's go racing. There will be a much fuller lobby over there if you want to go see a more full lobby. Head over to Nolander Gaming on YouTube there and check out the Split 2, Split 3 race here going on right now as we speak as well. Alright, so here we go. It is Superboy in the early race lead, but he overshoots the corner. He goes into the grass there, and that is going to cost him an early position there to Jakey. So Super now drops down into second. The Ferraris get a massive launch off the starting line like we've seen all season long. Gives them an early jump into the pack here. Super does miss the corner there, and now it's Tom sitting in fourth place in behind J-Set there in third. We got JP here in fifth place, and we got Sheriff here in sixth place. Boy, it should be easier. All the keys in one hand here today. Look at that. Alright, so we are racing here now, and it still looks like the audio is quite loud on the game side of things here, so we're just going to go double check this here in a couple of moments time, but we're going to stick with the early race here as, well, the racers start to get dialed in here. We got Tom right on the back bumper. Jay said here as they head down the back straight on this first lap. And as the drivers start to get up to race pace and start to build some heat in these racing tires, now they can start to try and settle into a very early race rhythm here. But there only being 6 cars on track here this weekend. The one thing you definitely don't want to do is lose the pack. You want to try and stay in the pack for the entirety of the race, so you have a shot at a good positional battle here before the end of the race. What happens in between then really comes down to the 6 drivers on the racetrack here. We got 2 Alfa Romeos, 2 Porsches, and 2 Ferraris here today. So we got some even square odds on the cars here of the 6 drivers, so it should be interesting. This is great for some drivers like Jakey, though, who has missed, I think, 3 races this championship season. So to have a small grid does mean that there is potential for him to make up some points on some drivers that missed more than 2 races this season as well. May have potentially taken him out of the running for the overall championship due to that, however, but again, a lot of the racers aren't here necessarily for that trophy that comes with that championship title at the end of the season. A lot of these races are here for Paul Bloomstrom and the Bloomstrom family and the sake of St. Jude's Children's Research Foundation. So for our racers that were able to make it during holiday season here, during Thanksgiving weekend for the United States, we definitely appreciate you all here, and let's keep racing. There is a pinned comment in the chat here in the YouTube channel as well. That is our campaign fundraising page through the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital Foundation and Tiltify. Tiltify is a great organization. They deal with a lot of the nonprofit organization fundraising efforts. As far as content creators like myself goes, it's an easy way for us to connect with these bigger charities without having to jump through weeks of emails and days of waiting for responses and trying to get proper communication through, because obviously they're very busy. It's just a quick, easy way for us to set up the fundraising efforts and immediately get the funds to where they need to go. So we do appreciate Tiltify, and of course we appreciate St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Foundation for the opportunity to be able to help them easily. Really in a time of need, and I mean, it's been a time of need for years now for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and I mean, everybody knows somebody in their life that has had or is currently going through cancer, whether it be a child or an adult human being. We all have known somebody or currently know somebody. You just got to sit there and think about those emotions and those feelings that you have going through that situation with that loved one, or that friend, or that acquaintance, or that co-worker that you just have built a personal relationship with even, and think about what it would feel like if it was your own child and you were down and out and you just couldn't be there, and you can't afford the financial support that's needed to treat and try to help your child. St. Jude's does that for you, but they do it on donations, they do it on donated money. So they need the community's help, and that's why, communities like ourselves here at the Winter Circle, with the Vegas Cup Series on behalf of the Bloomstrom family and in cooperation with the Bloomstrom family, step up to try and help that cause as much as we can. We're just a small little group here, but the impact and the weight on the racers' hearts is heavy, and they give it 110% every single weekend, so we appreciate that from our racers and then our viewers showing up every week to support as well. And for those that have donated, we love you so much. We haven't really gotten the push on this. We were hoping to get through this season, but we're still doing very well, and every dollar matters and counts, and we've already helped one or more families here this season through the Vegas Cup Series, and that's really the goal here, is to help at least one family this holiday season stay together through a crucial time in their lives. So we do appreciate y'all, and the one thing that we can really do to help, as opposed to donating, I mean, not all of us are in a financial position to be able to fork out the money, and I understand that times are tough out there. Trust me, we all understand that. The one thing you can do that doesn't cost you anything but just a couple seconds of your time is share that charity fundraiser out, share the streams out, share to your social networks, your own personal social networks, anywhere that's going to allow that type of post. Put it in there, put a little explanation, talk about what you think and what you see and how you feel is going on here in helping St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and keep helping us push the reach out there, because the more people we can reach through sharing the content, which is how we succeed as creators, is by sharing and forcing the algorithms to reach more people further and further away from where we're located. Sharing is caring, so it's really important, especially here on YouTube now. They have started to make changes to the algorithm and how YouTube shares content out, and it's not so much based off of a local location here. Now I'm located in Western Canada, and now I'm competing on a global level, on a global scale. So now YouTube is giving me an opportunity to actually outreach past North America and reach out to a full global level, and a global scale. Everywhere we do, YouTube is allowed to be viewed and used currently in the world. So I mean, it is a door that has been busted wide open as content creators here on YouTube, and we need to take full advantage of that for the sake of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, because sharing is caring, and sharing is what helps the algorithm here on YouTube especially. And if we continue to share, that is going to force YouTube to put it out on more news feeds. More people are going to see it. The more people that are going to see it, the law of averages starts to kick in, and more people that come in and check it out. Then 1 out of every 10 of those people that come to check it out potentially are a donator, a cash donator, and that is the goal here, is to try and hit that $2,500 goal before the end of the season. Jakey goes wide, super catches a sign, gets some air there. There's some good Gran Turismo 7 physics for you. Streeter Tom now in second place, with Jakey recovering, moves up into P3, has a little bit of suspension damage there, but that'll go away in about 30 seconds time. That puts JP here in 4th place, with Jay down into 5th place, and Sheriff here in 6th place, and the pack's still fairly tight together here, so we'd love to see that. But it is super here with an early race lead. Streeter Tom here in 2nd place, with Jakey in 3rd place. We got JP here in 4th position. We got J-Set in 5th place, and Sheriff here in 6th position. And I mean, from front to back, we're only separated by 3 seconds right now. So game on here at Road to Atlanta from GT45 Gaming in cooperation with Nolander Gaming, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Foundation, and Nolander Gaming. I think I said that already, but we're going to give it to him twice. Fast Ginger on YouTube is a vital part of what's going on here, but he is away for the next couple of weeks due to the Thanksgiving weekend as well. And we should see Fast Ginger back for the last couple of weeks of racing, but we're going to see him, I think, jumping in the commentary booth here with myself to finish the season off here for the Pro Lobby. So we are going to be potentially bringing Fast Ginger in here with us for the next couple of weekends of racing to send the Vegas Cup Series towards the All-Star race and crowning some champions. We have had some incident reporting that had come in over the last week that had delayed the points release for round number 7. Now that we have had an official race start here, we can make that adjustment for the points for round number 7. Again, it's just logistical complications sometimes with the point standings. This is a whole new system we're operating on this season. It's just a trial point system and a whole trial championship setup here this season. So a lot of this is in a sense, is also a test series for certain aspects of behind the scenes things like points, how the penalty system is coming into play, how we're really trying to fine-tune the stewarding system, especially. It's still something that is in need of work here at GT45 Gaming. It's not how quality the stewarding is that's the issue here. We have great stewards at GT45 Gaming. They're extremely thorough, and they really do try to look at all angles and aspects of an incident before they do really try to make a proper determination. The game doesn't make it easy with the net coding issues that the game does have, but I tell you, they really do a great job, and it's not very often I think that they get them too wrong. It's just how long it takes for the stewarding team. Obviously, we all have real lives and everything to get those results out. So when you have races every week, it gets very difficult to stay on a very timely fashion matter when you have, real lives involved. When this is a hobby in a sense, right? So it takes a little bit of time. So it's, we're not perfect as an organization. We still have lots of fine tuning we need to do even after 5 years now of running championships and leagues. Setting them up, getting them dropped, getting them ready, getting the racers going. All that we've got down to almost a science at this point now. But you never have running a championship down to a science, because there's always things that you don't expect, always things that you didn't see, and always things that you just never ever would have thought of happen throughout a championship season. And that is the case again this season as well. So when you try new things as well, you always get different results, right? So overall, I think it's been a great season, and I think that the points table is going to do exactly what we hope it's going to do as far as championship racing, and keeping point standings in a much tighter grouping if possible, to just make for better championship fights right to the end of the season. We see it a lot of times in the leagues with the regular base point systems, that you start to get a defined break in the splits very early in the season, to the midway point of the season. Sometimes you can even already tell who your champion is or is going to be just based off the spread of points. This way, it really forces the drivers to start to use their heads. It really forces the drivers to start to utilize smart driving, and utilizing when and when not to battle, and when to push and when not to push. Because ultimately, if you're not in the top 3 this particular season, you're not really rewarded any extra additional points. So, is it worth battling from 4th place down through to whatever the position is for the last driver in the grid in each week, to fight hard and give yourself track position and time away, when potentially that could be a lap that you just cost yourself an extra point in the race, when it's a point per lap on top of. Now, we have to make some adjustments with that. We'll talk more about that next week once we make an official determination on the adjustments we're making retroactive for this season. And the one flaw that we found with it is different track lengths and different track sizes obviously produce a different amount of points, and when you factor in drop rounds, it almost predetermines which tracks are going to be dropped here, regardless if that is actually the racer's worst round of racing or not. So we have to do a points balance scale here, retroactive to right back to round 1 this season, but it is for what I like to call the fair play sake of the championship, and we believe in fair play here as much as possible at GT45 Gaming, and always have. So this is something that we can actually adjust and fix during the active championship season, and make the balance of points adjustment with a manual override on our standing system through SLP as well. So we will be making a big points adjustment here, retroactive right from round 1 this season, which is going to completely change the way that the points look in the standings as well. But it does prepare for when the drop rounds come into play. It is at a fair advantage to the drivers legitimately actually dropping their worst 2 rounds of the season, not based off the fact that, for example, our finale is at Nürburgring 24 hours. They're only going to get 17 laps, or maybe 13 or 14 laps around the racetrack in 90 minutes. You double up the points, it's only 28 laps essentially. Where race like Road Atlanta here today is going to be upwards of 44, 45 laps here today. So there's an imbalance of points in a sense between some of the races. So we just have to add a base set of points or a multiplier to each round that is significantly lower to rebalance out that system. So when we do the drop rounds, we can actually determine which rounds drivers should properly be dropping for those that have made the majority or all of the rounds of racing. Obviously, for those that missed a couple of rounds of racing, it's no brainer. They're going to drop those 2-0 scored rounds, and they're going to keep all the point scored rounds. But also, with that being said, that does make a difference if the points aren't balanced, and that immediately takes them out of the championship as well. So a little tweak has to be done here this championship season just to keep everything on an even playing field. But with that being said, the one thing I did expect to potentially see out of this point system is the fact that we could see a Pro-Am or an Am Pro-Am driver win the overall championship based off of overall points out of all of our drivers across 3 divisions. So the way this breaks down this season is we have an overall divisional champion, so we have a champion for the Pro split, we have a champion for our Pro-Am split, and we have a champion for our Am splits. What we do is we take the Pros, the Pro-Ams, and the Ams, and we group them all together without a divisional split for an overall championship as well, and that is the Vegas Cup overall champion. That champion is decided by the racer out of all of the racers, and that comes out at the end of the season with the most overall points. And that driver will be the Vegas Cup Series champion. First time, first annual, and they will be the defending overall Vegas Cup champion coming into season number 2 next year, whatever that may entail for our racers. So there is divisional champions and then the big championship prize, which is that overall championship. And currently it was, leading into round number 7 last week, a Pro-Am leading the overall championship, not a Pro. So there we go. The points are kind of doing what we thought they would do. So that makes things a lot more interesting. If this continues to be something that works well, it could change the face of sim racing leagues all across platforms and sim platforms and sim racing games all across the community, because it could really heat up championships. It's really going to force drivers' egos into play, and it's going to make those pro drivers think there's no way a Pro-Am just beat me in overall points this season. I need to be better. I need to be faster. They're going to work harder. All it's going to do is improve the overall pace of the overall racing community and continue to provide us, commentators, league organizers, and you guys and gals, the viewers, with absolutely incredible, amazing racing. If we can continue to keep that trend going, that's exactly what we're looking to try and change the face of sim racing a little bit. We really find a way to make championships even more exciting than they already are. And when you have different skill level of drivers in a division, sometimes the best way you can do that is by having a cool point system that makes sense, that allows that to happen. So I'm interested to see what the feedback's going to be from the racers this season. We've gotten plenty of feedback from the racers throughout the season about this point system already, and it's been noted. But once the season's finished and once we see how everything scales out and how all the point systems drops and works and everything, there's going to definitely be a big conversation about the point system between the development team and the admin staff and the racers. We do this every championship season. Post-season we have a driver inquiry, I like to call it, and admin and staff will reach out to the drivers, or we'll send a general message out to our championship drivers that they can reach out to an admin of their choice and give their feedback. And all the admin does is just sit there and listens, takes that feedback, and then for some things that we have already potentially started to discuss or go over as the championship season, and things have arisen throughout the championship season, we may give our feedback on what we are potentially thinking of doing potentially towards a piece of feedback that they have given us, because we have already been discussing said feedback, right? So it gives the racers a little bit of insight, and it also shows our racers that we do care about what they want and how they feel things are progressing and going, but it also gives us the insight of how to fine-tune these championships and make them overall better for everybody all around as well. So there is a happy medium between league organizers and racers, and you can find it with some good cooperation and communication. And as a racer, I appreciate a community that I'm racing in that takes the time to hear my input. Now, whether or not they make a change based on my input is irrelevant, but taking that input for validity and face value really means a lot to a racer. So that's why we do it here at GT45 Gaming, because the racers are important to us. Their input does matter. At the end of the day, they're the ones out on track putting on the show. So without our racers, we don't really have much of a show to put on, right? So we got some mini battles starting to brew up here in the racetrack. We got Streeter, Tom, and Supra here right now, battling it out for the overall race lead. Supra's had the race lead here for a little bit. Tom's just slowly been reeling him in, and now he's just kind of sitting in behind, applying some pressure right now as we head through turns. What is this? 10A and 10B, I think. It's about a half-second car length, three-quarter of a second car length between the Ferrari and the Porsche here. And then we've got the Alfa Romeo of Sheriff here, and then another Ferrari here with Jakey. And we've got JP in the Alfa Romeo here as well, and then Jay here just in behind in the 6th position. just trying to keep up with unfortunately, on my Streamlabs software, the picture does not actually look all that great, believe it or not. But as I look on the stream on the other one, the PC, so I can keep track of my dashboard and the chat and everything, it really does look good. So I guess the bigger question is how does it sound now without any live feedback here? It's really hard to determine if we got the audio balance better, but we'll take a listen post race and find out for ourselves here as well. Alright, so lap 15 here. Looks like the field has opted to go on appearing to be a one-stop strategy. So there's two different strategies really viable here for our race today, as Super gets 10A and 10B quite wrong there, and Tom just kind of lets him collect himself, get back on track. He just stays in behind here, continues to apply small amounts of pressure to Super, maybe trying to force him into making a mistake here so he doesn't have to hard battle for the position. Or 100% better. Awesome, thanks, Guilty. Yeah, we had the game audio was definitely overrunning my mic audio last weekend for sure, so we're slowly but surely getting the new PC dialed in here. Slowly but surely. The more content we keep producing, the more we're going to get it dialed in, but now with so many different games out there, each game kind of has a different audio it needs, right? So we're going to have to start separating overlays, I think, for each game, just so we don't have to constantly be moving the audio around. We got battle for the race lead here between Tom and Super. Tom on the outside here, Super is on the inside line here. And Tom's just being very patient here. Again, he's just applying pressure here, but he's not applying aggressive pressure here right now on Super. He's trying to get around Super, but he's not trying to force to move around Super at the same time. So Super is defending fairly well here, but Tom is just playing it cool and calm here right now, just continuing to apply that pressure, continuing to try to force Super to make a mistake, choose a bad line, and just like that, there you see Tom waits for him to pick his defensive line and then decides to pull out and go which way he's going to make the move there. And again, Tom backs out a little bit there. Now, it does look like that Super's Ferrari is slightly twitchy a little bit here, which there could be a little bit of lag potentially, or net coding happening maybe between the two drivers, and Tom could just be being very cautious due to that as well. But good battle there for the race lead. Sheriff and Jakey here only separated by 7/10 of a second as well for that last podium position here. And Jakey's been trying to chisel away at Sheriff there for the last couple of laps. We got JP here about 8 seconds in behind, and Jay's about 2 seconds in behind there and moving a little bit slowly. So just getting back up to speed there. Maybe made a mistake through 10A, 10B, or at the top of the hill coming down through to turn 11 perhaps. Very easy to get these cars to slide as you're going up that set of S's there, and very easy to get these MRs to lose it up the hill there, or just coming down the hill, depending on the situation and the slide of the car. So it will certainly be a roller coaster, that's for sure. That's that corner. So again, it is Thanksgiving weekend in the United States here this weekend, so we do definitely have some small numbers this weekend, as the majority of our drivers are still either traveling or spending time with their families this weekend. We expected to see lower numbers this weekend, so do bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We do apologize for the smaller grid here today, but we will see, I would imagine, the majority of our field back next weekend for Sardinia A, I believe is what's on the docket. So we have a pit stop being made by Streeter Tom here, and I think he just wanted to get out of that potential battle with Supra to get some clean air, so we can put in some clean air laps potentially. It is hard when you're in the dirty air. And then we got Jay coming around. What's Jay going to do here? He's going to bring it in as well. So everybody but our top three has decided to make that early pit stop here, going for a undercut style strategy. That takes us to the 23-minute mark. So that's not the halfway point. So that tells me that the racers are potentially going to go a two-stop strategy here against the potential one-stop strategies. We're going to see another medium tire run, and then we're probably going to see a soft tire finish, I think, from the last three drivers that just made their pit stop there. Could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see what all the drivers opt to do as they come in and out of pit lane here, but it does appear to be a one-stop versus two-stop strategy here now in the race today. So It is Superboy here still in the lead with Sheriff just 2.3 seconds in behind. Jakey is just 2 seconds in behind Sheriff. That now puts Tom out about 27 seconds in behind. So it's about a 30-second pit loss here today at Road Atlanta. In the grand scheme of things of Gran Turismo, a 30-second pit delta is incredibly quick. So that's the kind of pit delta that does potentially allow you to make a two-stop strategy. Hope to be behind the wheel practicing next week, trying my hardest to get back into where I was before the storm. I feel you, brother. I feel you. No rush, man. We're not going anywhere, Kilty. Just take your time, take care of you, and when you're back, my man. We got a little bit of whipping into shape to do here behind the scenes of TT anyways. We got to get back in the roll, in the rhythm here. We're a little discombobulated right now as a team. We need to get back into shape and get focused and decide what we want to do here. I mean, the issue right now is all the sim games coming out, right? We got Gran Turismo 7, which is tried and true for championship racing. It looks amazing. It's still the best looking sim game out there, even with the release of the last 3 sims that have been released. They just don't compare. The spectator mode is functioning, working, and gives us everything we need as far as broadcasting these races live to the viewers goes. So, I mean, Gran Turismo is definitely it right now, and will remain it for a while by most likely. But we also have, Rennsport, NASCAR, and Project Motor Racing that has just come out. It's, eventually going to be direct competition to what GT7 is, and some will progress faster than others, right? So, I mean, we're a little spread thin right now, too. Some of us are over on NASCAR, playing the bejesus of NASCAR. Some of us are over at Project Motor Racing, really testing out Project Motor Racing right now. Now they're kind of getting the game back towards more of a release condition. So, yeah, we really got to figure out what the direction is going to be within the team right now. So, yeah, just worry about you, my man. That's the most important thing first, and don't worry about what's going on with the team. The team is the team, and we'll be here one way or the other. Get that whip cracking and wipe them really good. We just need direction right now. We don't have championships that we're running in together as a team or as a group of drivers, with the exception of the Vegas Cup here right now. I mean, the Endurance Series is wrapped up for the year, which will be coming back here soon. We should see an announcement pretty soon. There's another championship coming out potentially here in the next few weeks that I would love to see the team in on as well. But that's the big issue, right? It's finding the championships as a group to go in and run in together and race together. And when we find those again, then that team dynamic will start coming back into play a lot more. But it's the holiday season too, and it's been a long sim racing year, and I think a lot of our racers are just tired and worn out and just need a break as well at the same time. But there's still things we can do as a team, as drivers, to still create those bonds and build those relationships amongst each other as well, right? Just because we're not necessarily competing, we still could be hanging out playing games together and stuff like that, right? So it's not perfect, I'm a busy person. Miss Devious's life has changed quite a bit recently too, and it's taken her away from the focus on the team more so than what it was, and we need to figure out how to work around that and keep things moving in a more forward direction is all. Alright, so Jakey's now in the race lead here. We have Streeter Tom in second. We've got Sheriff in third. We've got Super here in fourth after his pit stop. We've got JP here in fifth, and we've got Jay in sixth place here. So, what do we got here? Let's see if we have varying strategies. We do have some varying strategy here on the racetrack, it looks like, but Jakey has not made his pit stop yet. It looks like Jakey is going to go for the long haul here, and he's going to try and make the one-stop run work here on these medium tires, where it looks like the rest of the field is going to run 2 sets of mediums and then probably jump onto a set of soft tires. So that's kind of what it's starting to look like here. And JP is on the softer tire here right now, so may be going with soft, or he may end up going back onto the medium tire in the next pit stop sequence. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out, but we'll probably be seeing Jakey come in next time around. Maybe this time around. It all depends on where that delta of the clock is. I guess when he gets to the end of the lap here, it's kind of on the edge of whether or not he should pit. If he pits to leave him a little less than 30 minutes left to go, ooh, he dozed off a little bit there, got into the grass, managed just to keep it underneath of him, which is great. It's going to cost him a little bit of time there, and it's going to slow his braking down a little bit and then exit out of the corner here a little bit, because he did touch that grass, and that means he is going to have some greasy tires, but he is going to come in and make that pit stop here. And you need to go dig your bike out of the snow. Well, good luck, Kelty. Don't overdo it, my man. Don't overdo it. Mandatory. It's definitely not mandatory. I appreciate you coming by and liking and sharing, though. You know that. You know that, my man. Alright, so Jakey now in for his first pit stop here, and what should be the last one. Let's go TT. Cheers. You always appreciate you, Kelty. Love you, brother. Alright, Streeter Tom now in the race lead. Jakey is coming back out. Where does that put him in amongst the pack here? He was fighting for fourth place with, or for third place with Sheriff, pardon me, before the pit stop sequence. Let's see where he comes in now. As he comes out of pit lane, he's going to come out in third place behind Sheriff still, but he does separate, or put himself just out in front of Supra. Supra is on a couple lap old tires at this point here, and now is up to race pace, so may be able to put some pressure on Jakey here. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. JP is just a couple seconds in behind Supra here, and then we've got Jay 16 seconds back there, so having a little bit of a rough go here. Something must have happened somewhere before, just after that pit stop there, as he was setting up for that pit sequence. Only 7/10 of a second separating Supra and Jakey here, so we may see a battle for that third place position. However, with that being said, Jakey is looking like he's the only driver on the one stop here, and the rest of them are on two stops here. So if that plays out the way that it looks like it's been playing out, then Jakey should technically benefit from being able to pull the one stop out here, because he's going to lose that 30-second additional pit stop. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out here, but Streeter Tom definitely does not have a 30-second gap currently over Jakey, so I mean he's going to come out roughly about I want to say 8-10 seconds in behind Jakey if he has to make another pit stop here, based off of what it looks like anyways. Alright, so unfortunate that the pack is separated a little bit here now, but again, pit stops always seem to do that. Pit stops always split the field apart, but they always seem to bring them back together too when you got these varying strategies. So I mean, the race is far from over here yet. As you can see, Jakey starting to close back in on Sheriff here as well within a second now, which is bringing Supra into this fight here for P2 as well. So we basically have a three-way battle for second place here potentially, and JP is starting to close in on this fight here as well. So almost a four-way battle here now for P2 here between these races. But right now the closest fight is for P3 here between Supra and Jakey as they come up over the hill down into turn number 11 here. We turn up 12, I guess, technically. Alright, Supra now within a car length of Jakey here as they continue to head up the back straight now towards 10A and 10B. So I guess, do we see defensive move here? Do we see an attempted pass here? We do have the back straight, but they are in the same car, so there's not really a car advantage in a sense there. It really comes down to the two drivers handling the machinery here right now when it comes down to this battle for third place, as it is two Ferraris battling it out here. But you can see JP starting to creep in here in behind and close in on that rear bumper of Supra here as well. So game on. Supra's going to go up the inside here as we head towards turn number 1, and kind of by inside of Jakey, just enough where Jakey's going to have to give him a line there. And a little bit of a touch there as they go towards the kink to set up there, and a mistake made by Supra. He hooks that curb, he gets really loose there and slides in between Jakey and JP there, managing not to collect JP, but then he goes off track, comes back on track in front of JP, skidding off his tires there, and JP still somehow managing to avoid contact there with Supra. So Supra overdriving the car there just a little bit, and definitely almost got himself into big time trouble there. He got very fortunate he didn't wreck the Ferrari there with that series of mistakes there, but great patience shown by JP and behind as well, not to get collected up in that sequence of mistakes made by Supra there. So JP gets the run here, and he is going to take that Alfa Romero up the inside line here. That essentially will give him the inside track into turns number 10A and 10B. It'll be inside the 10A, and then the Supra can hold the line there. That'll give Supra the inside back into 10B here, but easier said than done in this particular corner. JP gets a good line through there. Supra gets a good run up the hill, makes a little bit of contact there with the rear bumper at JP, and if anything, just gives him a boost down the hill and gives him a little bit of separation there from that Ferrari. So now JP starting to close in on Jake here as Sheriff continues to try and keep that gap at a second or bigger in between Jakey and this really fast chasing field here, as now JP has gotten fourth place from Superboy and again has Jakey as the target up in front here. So great battling for podium positions here in our pro division here for round number 8. Streeter Tom is about 10-15 seconds ahead here, but again, being on that potential two-stop strategy, does not have a big enough gap currently over Jakey, who looks to be on a one-stop pit strategy here, much of the same for Sheriff. We'll have to wait and see how these drivers make it all work here. But Jakey's getting a good run at the end of this lap there, and absolutely just getting rid of that 4C and that other Ferrari off his rear bumper here as he heads towards 10A and 10B again. And it's not a very long lap here around the line. As you can see, a minute 20 from these racers for the most part for the race pace, maybe a little bit faster here from the drivers, but Supra gets a run on JP coming up through 10A, 10B, and 11 into 12, and gets the pass done. JP is going to look to respond. Nope, he's going to settle in behind. Supra is going to take a look up on Jakey there, decides to back out. JP is going to have to check up himself there, and almost had the car snap underneath of him there as he had to check up a little bit there not to make contact with Supra, but he manages to keep it there and just loses a couple of car lengths there in the process. But better to keep the car safe than make a big mistake and, of course, put the car on the wall. So Streeter Tom here in the race lead has, what is it, about 16 seconds over Sheriff Doofy here right now. Only has a couple seconds over Superboy, who's now battling it out with Jakey here. So Superboy has just gotten around Jakey here, and as we head through the double hairpin here back into the back straightaway, we'll see if Jakey responds back to Supra here as they head up this back straight. So I mean, this is great news for Sheriff here. He's trying to just maintain that gap or continue to open that gap up to this third place battle. And the more that these two drivers continue fighting with each other, the more that is going to potentially happen, allow Sheriff to continue to try and open that gap up and try to secure at least a bare minimum P2 finish here today. But pit strategy ultimately is going to be key here today, and we did say at the beginning of the race, the drivers have a lot of things to have to factor in here today and worry about. They have to worry about fuel consumption depending on your car. You also have to worry about the tire wear depending on your pit strategy. It is a dual-edged sword here at Road Atlanta this weekend for a 1-hour endurance race for the Vegas Cup Series in cooperation with St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Foundation as well. If you would like to donate to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, there is a pinned link in the comments here in the chat. You just jump right into that link there and go check out the campaign and see what we're doing here. And right at the very bottom of that page is a single dollar amount. If you have a certain amount of money in mind that you'd like to donate, or there are some fun little tiers there that you can donate specifically, and then those donations go exactly towards what those tiers tell you they are for. So those tiers are not a mandatory thing. We just decided to throw them there just in case that somebody wanted to go, the extra mile and really give, right? And some people do like to do that. So we've left the options there for both, and we really appreciate everybody that's come in and helped so far this championship season as well. You're absolute legends, and you're making a big difference, one child at a time worldwide. Children are our future, and without our children we don't have much of a future. So we got to do everything we can to preserve our future and keep our children as safe as we possibly can. And St. Jude's is definitely one of those organizations that is on the forefront of helping with exactly those things. Alright, so Streeter Tom still moving and grooving here. Still looking pretty good on fuel, but the tires are starting to wear down there. We got Sheriff here in second position, and not looking bad on fuel and tires here. We'll have to wait and see if we can go the distance. We got Jakey here, who is looking really good on fuel and looking pretty darn good on tires so far. JP here, not looking so good on those tires. Probably going to be seeing that second pit stop coming from here very soon. Got Super now. Something must have happened here as he's behind here now by JP by about 14 seconds or so. So I'm not sure what happened to Mr. Superboy there, but definitely a few seconds in behind that podium fight here all of a sudden. So it is Streeter Tom in the race lead, looking for back-to-back wins here this week. We are this championship series. We've got Sheriff Doofy here in second position, and we've got Jakey here in third place. JP's rolling in fourth position here now, 2 seconds in behind Jakey, and we've got Super here, like I said, about 14 seconds in behind. So there was definitely something that happened here to the white 20 or silver 129 Ferrari here on the racetrack, whether it be self-induced or racer-to-racer incident. We're not 100% sure. We're not even 50% sure. So we'll have to wait and see what the race review says post race week. The 6-car grid makes a race review very simple, I will say that much. So that's always, I guess, a good news. We may get standings a much quicker this coming week here. We've been missing one of our AM drivers in the standings over on SLP. SimLeague Pro is who we use for our tracking, for our point standings, our lap count tracking, fastest lap tracking. Great free site to use for league organizers if you want to get a little more advertising out there to get more racers. SimLeague Pro does a good job. They've got a huge field of drivers there, and I mean, you'd be surprised at what how many racers are coming in through Sim League Pro here season to season for GT45 Gaming as well. So the only real mandatory deal here is obviously the Discord server is mandatory for racers in the championship. This is how we communicate. This is where everything behind the scenes happens with these championships. We do build a private section of the server just for the championship racers, the dev team and the stewards, and anybody that needs to be there. Everybody else is excluded from that part of the Discord server during an active championship, and that just helps negate a lot of outside opinions that tend to create extracurricular discussions, which at the end of the day just take up my admin team and moderator team's time and for handling nuisance stuff that doesn't need to happen. So you know, the championship racers have their own spot in the server where they can discuss openly and privately. Now that doesn't mean that we don't have bad discussions happen and bad things happen in that part of the server from time to time. I mean, racing is racing, and heat of the moment is heat of the moment. Sometimes racers get upset and frustrated and stuff happens, but it's just a place so the championship racers know that that's their space for that particular discussion, and they don't have to feel bad for opening up that discussion right there, because it is just for the championship racers, and in most cases the divisional drivers themselves, because we also have divisional split chats where the pro can only talk with the pros, the pro-ams can only communicate with the pro-ams, and the ams can only communicate with the ams. The rest of the divisions can't see that conversation between those groups. So we really do our best to try and keep it as cool, calm, and collected as possible during championships. Like I said, we do it for free. A lot of it is done on volunteer time, and it's just a hobby. So the last thing we need is to be stressed out and having arguments about a hobby. And really, ultimately, the point of what we do here is to come out and have some good, clean, competitive, fun racing with our friends at the end of the day, right? So it just so happens that we have the ability to do more with it, so we choose to do more with it than just come out and have fun with our friends. Alright, so Jay coming in for that second pit stop here as Streeter Tom is now coming around. What is he going to do? Is he going to dive into pit lane here? Yes, he is. So Streeter Tom coming in for his final pit stop here. That leaves Sheriff Doofy with 14 minutes to go. He may be able to take this to distance here, and that leaves Jakey here now as well. Again, trying to pull the one-stop strategy, so we're going to have to wait and see where the drivers come out in comparison to Streeter Tom here. We got Supra here in 4th place. We've got JP here now in 5th place after making his final pit stop, and he does actually come out on a set of medium tires like we suspected he probably would. And Jay now coming out for his final stint here as well on that soft tire. So it is now Sheriff Doofy in the lead of the race, and the gap is about 6.4, I think that says. Looking at my software screen, so it's really small in comparison to what I normally would be looking at my full 55-inch TV. So I do apologize if you guys are yelling at me because I'm getting the numbers a little bit wrong. I can't quite fully see them properly because I'm looking at a screen that's about a third of the size of what I'm normally looking at here, due to the way that our setup is currently. So yeah, we got some pieces to still purchase for the new setup, yet to make it complete, but one step at a time. And the big step was the most important one, getting the new streaming PC built and functioning. So that is what you're watching right now. So that part is working, and that's all that matters. The rest will come with time here as we continue to progress into the 2026 calendar year. I'm an average guy, just like most of you great viewers out there as well. I work 50 hours a week. I don't get paid overtime because I'm a tradesperson. I don't get paid union dues because I'm a tradesperson. It is real tough out there. Every minute counts in our work day for us, and I'm just like most of you out there. I make I can't even say mid-average yearly income right now. I make almost below poverty line income per year here right now. So it takes a little bit of time to acquire expensive items. Alright, so it's now Jakey here in the race lead. We've got Streeter Tom in second place, and we've got Sheriff here down in third. So mistake made by Sheriff here. He was in first place with 6.4 seconds over Jake, now 7.1 seconds in behind. So that is about a 14-second time loss there for Sheriff. And still has him on the podium here, which is not the worst thing in the world to happen after a mistake, but is definitely not leading the race. So, super unfortunate there for Sheriff, but again, like I said, still holding on to a podium position here, and he is closing in on Jake here, but he's bringing it into pit lane here. It looks like he is not going to have the fuel load to get the distance here, so he is going to have to take a splash of fuel, and we'll most likely see him come out on a fresh set of soft racing tires if I had to guess. If you're going to make that pit stop and you're going to lose that track position in time, you got to make that time back up. And the only thing that makes sense at that point is to put on the fastest tire and send it. So we'll see if that's what we see Sheriff do. We have a 118.474. It looks like his fastest lap on the racetrack here currently being held by Streeter Tom. But it is Jakey in the race lead, but Tom is closing in here on Jakey with a second just separating those two drivers. We've got JP and Sheriff here now basically nose to tail, a couple car lengths separating the two of them here in third and fourth place. So let's see if Sheriff has enough to get back into that P3 as it is Alpha versus Alpha here. Sheriff is just coming fresh out of pit lane. JP's been on track for a couple of 2 or 3 laps here now to get up to race pace and build some temperature in those tires, so this should be an interesting battle here for the first couple of laps, I suspect. Sheriff is tucked right in underneath JP there, and he is going to try and make the pass up this very long back straight. So drag race to 10A and 10B here, and it looks like it is going to be Sheriff that is going to win that drag race with that soft tire against those more used medium tires. They're not in terrible condition there on JP's car, but they are not fresh soft tires, so Sheriff easily gets that battle won up the back straight and continues to try and chase down Tom now about 28 seconds up the road, it looks like. So quick little battle there. Sheriff back up into third place, JP down into fourth position, Super here in fifth place, and Jay here in sixth position as well. Alright, so Streeter Tom here now in the race lead. We just missed that. Let's see if we can catch that battle here. Let's see if we can get far enough back. We just caught the tail end of it, and makes an outside move into the entry of the hairpin there. Get the job done. So again, difference in tire compounds here, as Streeter Tom is on a fairly fresh set of soft tires. Jakey is on an extended used period of medium tires here, but that does not mean that Tom is going to run away with this race, because in about another 5 minutes time those soft tires are really going to start to fall apart and the medium tires may become a more strong tire again. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there in between Jake and Tom for first and second place, but we still kind of got our eyes on this battle for third and fourth place here between Sheriff and JP as well. Super with a 1 second penalty, that's going to slow him down a little bit more there, and Jake here in sixth position. So racers are moving, they're grooving, and even though we had just 6 on grid here today because it's Thanksgiving weekend in the US of A, it was still a pretty good race here. We got lots of decent little battles on the racetrack here between our small group of drivers, and at the end of the day, these drivers built up some very, very important championship points today. I mean, this is a high-scoring track here. We're going to see, like I said, about 44 to 45 laps here on the racetrack this weekend. It's going to be one of the highest-scoring rounds of the season. So, it's these guys are in a sense at an advantage of having being here in the grid for a 44-45 point score plus bonus points in comparison to the average 35 to 39 point race. I mean, that's 6 points. That 6 points could make a very big potential difference at the end of the season. You just never know. So It's how hard it is to gain extra points over your opponents this season. Really, the only way to do it is to get really good, consistent podium finishes for those bonus points, or continue to take fast lap points. I mean, it is all about pacing the front end of the pack and making sure you stay on the lead lap. If you can do that all season long, you've kept yourself in the fight. But those bonus points are what separates these championships in this point system, and then those bonus points are vital. And we've seen drivers even utilize the strategy to try and utilize those bonus points. Drivers that have had an off race, they're in the back of the pack, they're in clean air. We've seen them come in just for an extra pit stop and low fuel, just to try and get those extra 2 bonus points, because they are that important in these championship seasons. Believe it or not, we've seen championships be won based off of literally just bonus point collection. We've seen championships only be split apart by a couple of mere measly points in GT45 gaming over the years here. So anything is possible. That you never give up, you never stop racing, because you just never know how it's all going to end at the end of the season. Just got home. I was just listening. We had a breach in the building, a new building I'm living in a couple of weeks ago. It was actually live when it happened. Somebody was leaving the parking garage to sit there and wait for the door to close, didn't pay attention, right? Just drove away and not even thinking about it. And 3 people, I assume, one of our local homeless residents, came into the building, stole a bunch of bikes, and literally went up and down the hallways of all the floors and tried opening people's doors to see how many doors were unlocked, right? Probably going to steal stuff. So I was actually live streaming when somebody was literally yanking and pulling on my door trying to get into my unit there just a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, when I hear things out in the hallway now, I'm just keenly paying attention. I can't help it. I mean, honestly, if I'm going to be real, I feel sorry for the guy that tries to break into my unit, because if they do get in, they're going to want to turn around and leave just as quickly as they got in, because I'm not a nice person when you've forced your way into my bubble, so to speak. I don't have much in my life, and I'm very protective of what I do have. Let's put it that way. Alright, so Streeter Top, 4.6 seconds up the road here from Jakey, building the gap up here as we have just under 4 minutes to go here now. Sheriff in 3rd place, trying to close the gap up here, but solidly in 3rd place and has 4-second gap over JP, chasing here in 4th place. Super Solely in 5th place, and Jay here in the 6th position as well. But again, these guys just can't really be too upset, even if they had a slower race or a rougher race here this weekend, because they are scoring points on a very high score point round, and that is going to give them a little bit of an upper hand on the rest of the field that didn't make it here today. So it is an advantage to our 6 drivers to be on track here racing today. We do have substitute racers in the pro division, but both those racers are fighting for potential championships in another series that is starting up here shortly. So obviously that's where their focus is here this weekend, and understandably so. So we'll have that broadcast for everybody here in about 2.5 hours time. So yeah, we're not done here yet today. We're gonna have another race for everybody here, coming from our friends over at Sector 7 Racing as well. It's their championship finale for their Toyota GR Cup that they've been doing all season long here. We've been on a little bit of a leave of absence, so to speak, due to the changeover from the old PC to the new PC, and then of course just the lobby numbers not being in the Pro-Am favor over there this season. They've had to move some of the Pro-Ams into the Pro and Am lobbies and split the lobbies up, kind of like we've done with our Pro and Am lobby this season, just to keep the grids full and keep the races getting healthy. So we've missed about 3 or 4 weeks of racing now, I think, with the Sector 7 guys. So we are going to be back there for the finale here tonight with our Pro-Am division to send the season off as well. And normally we would do that as a rebroadcast on Monday nights, but we're going to put that out live here tonight on the channel for everybody to come and watch. Alright, JP here in 4th place. We got Super here in 8th. We got Jay in 5th, and we got Jay here in 6th place. Looks like we got about 8 or 9 racers on that grid over there this or a little later this afternoon here or this evening too as well. So again, you know, the numbers just aren't holding that well right now on GT7. I'm a little unsure why. But I think that a lot of the GT7 racing community is just out there playing with the other sims right now. They're just testing out other stuff, and again, holiday season is starting to approach as well, so it's going to be very hit and miss here for the racing community over the next few weeks. This is usually the busiest time of year for championship racing, where most of our races are available, but at the same time, this is also the time of year where it's also our slowest point this year because of the Christmas holiday season and Thanksgiving and Black Friday and New Year's and all those things coming up as well. So when it's hot, and when it's cold, it's cold. I mean, what else can you say? We race anyway. I made it funny. Ooh, Tom goes really wide there, heading into turn number 1 there, but manages to keep it underneath him, which is good because Jakey is still close enough to potentially strike if a big enough mistake was made there from Tom. But it looks like Jakey's in fuel saving mode here as he's heading out the track there. And does he get that next lap? He does get an additional lap here. So Jake and Streeter Tom there are going to get 45 laps in here today, where the rest of the field is going to be scored in at 44 laps. So 2 drivers scoring an additional point over the field. Also an important detail in this championship. A Sheriff going to lock in 3rd place here today, unofficially anyways. JP is going to come around in 4th place here as well. Superboy is going to come around and take a P5 finish in that Ferrari. We got Jay just heading down the back straight, heading into 10A, 10B here right now as well. And it will be a P6 finish here for J-Set, and I believe that this is going to be a race win here for Tom because Jakey is very close on fuel, so I believe he's probably fuel saving here right now, and that's definitely the case as the gap is about 21 seconds between Tom and Jake here now. So Jakey fuel saving just to get that car across the start finish line here at this point. As we head into 10A and 10B here, he should just have enough to get that thing down across the line here. So let the downhill take the car the rest of the way, and it is going to be a P2 finish here for ERA's Jakey. So congratulations to our 3 racers here on the podium this week, and congratulations to all the racers here competing in the field here today. Again, very small grid here today due to Thanksgiving weekend in the United States. We expected to see potential small numbers here this weekend, and that was most certainly the case, but didn't take away from the fact that we still had a pretty good race here from our 6 drivers. So I'm just going to let them know that there's no pods today. All right. So, race breakdown. Normally this is the point where we'll talk to our drivers. I finished in the top 3, but with a 6-car grid here today, I don't like doing podium interviews. It wasn't really, in a sense, much of a race when you have a 6-car grid. I mean, half the field's going to get on the podium and half the field's not going to get on the podium. So, did I miss it? You just missed it. Yeah, you just missed it. You betcha. Just missed it. It was a small grid here today. We had a 6-car lobby here today due to the Thanksgiving weekend. So it was a good little race at the beginning, and then it spread out a little bit, and then we had a couple of good battles near the end there. But it's all right. It's always available for rewatch at your own leisure, Sam, my man. So, and we'll be back live here and again in I want to call it 2 hours and 15 minutes for another championship series as well. So if you want to see some more live commentary action here from GT45 Gaming, you can catch me live here in just a little over 2 hours again for another organization here that we've been working with this season as well. It is their finale races this weekend, so they will be crowning their champions over there this week, and it should be fun. Highlight reels, yeah, we might make some highlight reels. We might. It was a small enough lobby. We may do so today. All right, but congratulations again to R.A. Streeter Tom. Back-to-back racing wins here for him from round 7 and 8. Congratulations to ERA Jakey for a solid second place finish. The one-stop strategy not quite working out in his favor there for him here today, but a great run nonetheless for a P2. And Sheriff Doofy holding on to that third place finish there as well. Looked like he attempted the one-stop run there, but he just fell short on fuel. Had to make that second pit stop, but still managed to fight his way back to third place on that soft tire against JP. So let's go no comp Tom. Yep, you know it. So there we go. Streeter Tom in with another race win. He's missed a couple of races this season, so he definitely needs those points added up and scored in. Those bonus points definitely going to help the cause for Tom here a little bit going in towards the championship point standings. We'll have to wait and see how all that breaks down after this week's round of racing. But small grid, meaning not a whole lot to talk about this week. We had great battles early on in the race, and then it spread out in the mid part of the race, and then we had a couple of quick battles for change in the podium positions due to tire strategies, and that was about it. It was a quick hour here at Road Atlanta from Vegas Cup Series Pro Split Lobby 1 and GT45 Gaming. And don't forget, if you have not seen the Pro-Am or the Am Split lobbies yet, head over to Nolander Gaming here on YouTube to check out our Split 2, Split 3 race that may still be going on now even, and catching the tail end of as well. I'm number 1. Let's go. Until next time. There you go. You got it, Sam. The viewers come in literally just to get that number 1 tag sometimes, no joke. But remember, you all matter. Stay winning for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Foundation and Paul Bloomstrom and the Bloomstrom family. On behalf of GT45 Gaming, we love you all out there. Be safe out there. Have a safe holiday season. And we'll catch you all in the next one.
Inside me, son of a god. I'm like a titan that's rising, oh just you watch. I'm stepping into fate, there is no time to waste. I've got that lightning inside me, this is how legends are made. I'm cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine.